And that sucks. Cool, good job, team. I think there might be more there. No loot? Come on. Hey, Rakatunga, Mando. Ah, who's Achuta? Good job, come talk to me. Achuta, quickly, be ready. The battlers are in position. We'll soon start our restless prey. I hope the mines do their job quickly. Don't worry, I'm ready. Wait, what is that rumbling sound? Oh boy, he's a big one. Epic fight. Now, this guy knows how to kill bosses in this game. The mine method is a tried and true method. And I gotta admit, the dragon looks really good with the mod. It is done, and the great beast is dead. To my shame, I denied him a final fight, but I will honor his memory to make amends. I thank you for your aid, human. You have earned a share of the victory, such as it is. I don't want it. Your skill made it possible. Aww. You flatter more than I am worth, given the circumstances. Any technician can place explosives. The only difference is that I feel shame about it. I thank you for your help here today, human. I shall see you again, I am sure. Please tell me we get the... Oh.
What can I do?
Some help, Bastila? Okay.
Yes?
I don't know if we got... Oh, there we go. We did get it. Okay, cool. Ooh. Crisis averted. Chewed human corpse. Yum. Ooh, Jedi Master Robe. Hell yeah. Woo! Those threads are gangster. Phew. Need to customize my lightsabers some more as well. Hopefully I'll remember. Probably won't. Any of these guys your father, Bastila?
So we have found it. Father's holocron. I suppose I should be thankful the desert sands had not swallowed it up.
Are you going to give it to your mother?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I'll keep it with me while I decide.
Okay. Because if she's offering money for that, you're going to have to let it go. Ooh. See, that's where I live, right over there.
I believe there can be little doubt that we have found the star map you were seeking. I am surprised it is still working after all this time.
I do not think it is mere chance that we have found the star map here, in the lair of a Krayt dragon. The star map is an artifact of the dark side. The Krayt dragon may have been drawn here by its dark power, only to be enslaved by it. Come. We should leave this place. There's nothing else for us here.
Oh, you can actually see the Ricardo here. I've never noticed that before. I mean the builders. Oh, I think there's another fight coming up. I'm sure we'll be fine. But I do want to save. Because I'll probably die. Even if the fight's not hard. Oh, they might be waiting for us on Manon, because we started there. Okay. Darth Bandon's got nothing on me. Yeah, I can't teleport back, so I'm gonna have to run to the next area first. Oh, there's the loot. No, it's just their bodies. If your organs were worth anything, I would take it. You scum. Oh, we actually do need to go back to the Sand People Enclave. You can learn all about the Sand People lore. Absolutely thrilling. It actually is pretty cool. I mean, I don't think anyone else has expanded on the Sand People lore as much as this game. On the edge of your seat? Oh yeah. I don't know if I'm going to actually trade in the pearl though. I'll probably just save before I talk to them, get all the lore and then load, because we can use that pearl as a lightsaber piece. And I think it's actually pretty decent. You guarantee there are Sand People fanfiction? Yeah, I know there was a Sand Person Jedi in EU. I listened to the Obi-Wan book, maybe. I enjoyed it. I think actually everyone actually fights a Great Dragon in that. Spoilers. Of course there was, yeah. Yo, Senny, my man.
Query. What do you wish to ask of him, Master?
Tell him farewell for now. I don't know if I saved.
Translation. You have been told that to be considered worthy of hearing the histories, you need to bring him a dragon pearl from a crate dragon. Translation. He says the discussion is closed until you fulfill this condition. He thinks you are just making fun of his traditions.
Well, I happen to have one right under my robes here. Here's a dragon pearl.
Translation. Translation. He is stupefied, Master. He never thought you could return with such an item. Such a thing has not been done in many years. Translation. He will allow you to meet the storyteller, but also gives a warning. If you dare to repeat the histories incorrectly, you will be killed. Translation. The storyteller will be summoned to one of the rooms here in the Enclave. He seems to think this is a great honor for you, Master.
Tell him farewell for now.
Translation. Translation.
So these guys go to the Sand People, right? And like 500 years ago, they like just grew from the sand. The end. Do we tell the history correctly? Compared to the warriors that you have encountered, the Sand People storytellers are relatively calm in his movements and speech, but he still regards you coldly.
Translation. He identifies himself as the storyteller, Master. He has been told of your warrior skills and will speak the history to you.
I am honored. Ask him when he records.
Translation. Translation. There is only one accepted history, passed orally to each successive generation. Translation. A book or datapad can be taken away, cheapening the value of what it contains. To commit it to paper or storage is to remove it from the people.
Oral histories are often inaccurate.
Translation. Translation. He says that you dare not question the accuracy of his information. The stories are learned perfectly by each successive storyteller. Translation. In fact, they aren't allowed to speak the stories aloud unless they are exact. Any error is considered a blasphemy punishable by death. Criticism. It seems inefficient to me, Master. A score of apprentice storytellers would be slaughtered each generation. What if the elder died before completing the teachings?
It's a good question. Ask him that.
Translation. Translation. Apprentices are trained from birth. Very few speak the words in error. Storytellers are most often lost in battle between tribes. Translation. Any tribe that loses its storyteller is obviously unworthy of existing. They lose their connection to history and destroy themselves with infighting soon after.
Sounds fun. What topics can I choose from?
Translation. Translation. You may choose to hear the history, or you may choose not to. Their history is a single entity that cannot be partitioned. Translation. The only exception is in continuing the tales once they have begun. If you leave, when you return, he will continue from where he left off.
Begin the history.
Translation. Translation. It begins with the ancient times. They were not sand people, for there was no sand. The land was green with life, and they walked without wrappings. Translation. Though the land was beautiful, they lived apart from the land. They built their walls high and saw beyond the horizon. They dared to reach the stars. Translation. There are no words for how long ago this was. It was before the outsiders, before the abduction, before the cities fell, before the builders.
Ah. I want to ask questions about what I've heard.
Cautionary. I should warn you, Master, that any questioning of their interpretation may be seen as trying to change the meaning of what was said. Clarification. They may consider this to be speaking the words in error, a blasphemy they would attempt to kill you for.
I want to ask something about the ancient times.
Clarification. It would appear that they once had a thriving technologically advanced society, but were wiped out by a much more sophisticated alien species.
Is there anything in the Galactic record that could verify this?
Negative. I am no library, but since there is no Republic record of this planet having sentient life before Zerka colonization, I doubt you will find such evidence.
Ask him if these builders resemble any modern species.
Translation. Translation. He only understands the builders as an iconic force meant to test the resolve of his people. He is not making sense, Master. Clarification. They claim their stories are repeated unchanged, but they have demonized these builders. In their minds, they wreaked such havoc they could not possibly be flesh and blood.
All these bedtime stories bring you to sleep? Okay, well, they have a good sleep. Ask if they have an image we could compare with current species.
Cautionary. Master, this line of questioning may be interpreted as attempting to change the story. He may react poorly.
I wish I was. Yeah, they probably wouldn't. Can he clarify how long ago Tatooine was green with life?
Doubting. I don't believe he can, Master. Even if their stories are exact and unchanged, it is likely they were first told thousands of years after these events occurred. This has become very much like a creation myth for his people. There is no date. It simply was.
Want to ask him about a different part of the history? Nah. Let's return to my other questions.
Obedient. I will ask whatever you wish, Master.
You can hear the pain in his voice. Continue the history from where we left off.
Translation. Translation. His arrogant people touched the stars, and this sin drew the attention of the builders. The builders did not touch the stars, they lashed them to millstones. Translation. Great demons of metal stripped the world of its riches until all that was left was the green of the ground. The great cities were lifted away. Translation: those that had used the wealth were taken along with it. Transgressors abducted to serve past the sky, seeding the stars with penitent, adaptable slaves.
I wonder if we can just ask everything at the end. I want to ask questions about what I've heard. See?
Cautionary.
Okay, no. I want to ask something about the time of enslavement.
Clarification. I believe they were occupied by this technologically superior species for a substantial period. Stripping an entire planet of usable resources would have taken generations.
How many of these people were taken off world?
Translation. Translation. He has no number. He claims that those that were taken were examples of the worst of his kind, arrogant and uncaring of the land. Doubtful. Master, this is just another distortion due to their demonization of the builders. It's like claiming an aspect of his people were taken, not actual individuals. Clearly, history has colored his view. Of course, only the inferior meatbags were taken. The remaining were his ancestors, after all. It must have been special.
Suggested he rethink it? No. Why would the invaders have done this?
Obvious. The same reason Zerka Corporation is attempting it now. Expanding empires need tremendous amounts of resources.
I want to ask something about a different part of the history.
Cautionary.
Ancient times?
Clarification. It would appear that they once had a thriving technologically advanced society.
Oh, okay. That's what we just asked before. Okay.
Oh.
Continue the history from where you left off.
Translation. Translation. There came a time when the builders were also judged for their crimes. After generations, a plague weakened them, and the time of the Great War began. Translation. The builders faltered, and his people realized why they had been punished, so that they understood the crime, and would now strike down the greater offender. Translation. They worked chaos in the machines, so they destroyed themselves. The builders fought back, laying waste to the green that had been misused with fire from above. Translation. Soil became glass, grinding to sand, but the fight was long planned, and his people were safe. Deep in cave homes carved from valley wall, they were free.
It's odd. Let's continue.
Translation. Editing, if I may, Master. This section of his tale details several millennia of the Long Walk, their nomadic wanderings as they accept their identity in a desert world. Rather than strain my circuits on his dialect, might we just assume there was much fighting over who has the biggest bantha and move on to more recent things?
No, I want to hear it all.
Resignation. Very well, Master.
Several hours later.
Translation. The tribes spread far, distant from each other, but all as sand people, and all cherished the land that remained. The sand would not be misused. Translation. Then machines fell from the stars again, outsiders like you that brazenly walked apart from the land. And greater still was the insult to come. Translation. These outsiders reminded them of their past transgression, of the time when they too walked apart from land. The outsiders, your kind, looked like their ancient abducted. Translation. So it is to the current sons that the Sand People hate all outsiders and give them no footing. You come again, time after time, adaptable slaves to the machine.
Is there anything further?
Editing. The last 1,000 years are full of conflicts with different groups of attempted planetary settlers, all of whom are poorly described, long dead, and likely untraceable. I believe I have truncated it down to the usable bits in what was already said. I hope it is enough, Master.
Okay, I want to ask questions about what I've heard.
Cautionary.
Okay, so we've done the first two. So the Great War.
Clarification. The occupying force suffered some sort of species-wide plague that lowered their numbers over time. His people used this extended weakness to sabotage their larger ships. The response of the builders appears to have been to lay waste to the entire surface of Tatooine.
How could they repel such a powerful species?
Doubting. They didn't, Master. They struck a blow, but the storyteller only believes they won because the builders were gone when they emerged from their caves. That does not mean they defeated anyone. It seems clear that the builders simply sterilized their problem and left. The enemy judged them not worthy to fight.
Let's not ask them if that's a possibility, because that'll probably offend them. What kind of weapon could do so much damage?
Clarification. I may not have properly conveyed how long they fought with the builders. Given time, any number of armaments could destroy a world. Hypothesis. Perhaps this is another distortion. Their climate may have begun to fail due to their unrestrained development even before the builders arrived. Looking back thousands of years later, such a shift could easily be attributed to the much-hated conquerors.
How could they survive such an attack? Did we ask that? I don't think so.
Hypothesis. If his people were moving away from technology for a long time under the builders, they may have had extensive cave systems that could grant shelter. I would also suggest that, given the evidence of the massive shift in the nature of their society, most of them did not survive.
Okay, let's ask about a different part.
Caution.
Let's ask about the long walk.
Impatience. Master, I refuse to inconvenience you with this. He spouted names of petty tribal fights in deserts so distant they might as well be across the galaxy. Really, Master, I'm sure it's important to him, but it has nothing of value that you could ever put to use.
We'll have to discuss this impudence, HK-47.
Agreement. Of course, Master. Just no more of their inane wandering.
Good. Okay. I think that's all.
Obedient.
Continue the history from where we left off.
Translation. Translation. The tribes spread far, distant from each other, but all are sand people, and all cherish the land that remained. The sand would not be misused. Translation. Then machines fell from the stars again. Outsiders like you that break. Translation. These outsiders reminded them.
Yeah, we know that already. He's still the best character in the game. Yeah, definitely amazing. Yeah.
Translation. Translation.
Cool. And we didn't offend them. Wow, it's like real life. Okay, let's go back. Talk to Bastila's mum. And we'll hold that holocron ransom until she pays us 1,000 credits. And we'll need a hand in the gaffy stick, right? Zerka, we'll do that now. Sure.
Greetings again from the offices of Zerga Corporation. Is this about bounties or something else?
I have gaffy sticks to redeem for bounties.
I see that, but do you have the all-important Chieftain's gaffy? That was what you agreed to get for us.
Yes, here it is.
Well, that is a very big headache that you've removed. I'm sure there are still sand people out there, but they'll be quieter now. I think I'll give you a bonus for this. You've more than lived up to your side of the bargain. Zerga Corporation thanks you.
For a bit more, I could maintain my vigilance in the future.
It would be valuable to have someone on call if the Sand People made another incursion. I think you're right. Yes, here's an additional reward. Once again, Zerga Corporation thanks you. Greetings again from the offices of Zerga Corporation. Is this about bounties or something else?
We'll ask about our agreement.
You have fulfilled your end of the bargain, and Zerga Corporation is grateful. The Sand People will be less of a threat without their chieftain. I will, of course, continue to give you bounties on regular gaffy sticks. Everyone helps.
Okay.
Farewell.
Griff. Oh, okay. Let's get thing in here.
Ah, just the person I was hoping to see.
Save it, Griff. I'm not talking to you. I want no part of whatever you're involved in.
Okay, sis, I see you're still mad. Fair enough. I don't think you could help me with this anyway. It's, more of a job for your friend here.
What's the job?
As you may know, tack glands can be refined to a very potent powder. It's the primary ingredient in Teresian ale. That's what makes it so strong. Of course, now that Taris is pretty much wiped from the face of the map, Teresian ale has become somewhat scarce and, very, very valuable. Luckily, I know the secret recipe.
So you want to open a bar?
I know this guy. He's with the Exchange. Now, if I give him a small sample of Teresian ale, he says he can synthesize it and reproduce it in mass quantities. Problem is, I need one of those tack glands to make the first batch, and now that Taris is a smoking ruin, the only place to find tack is on Kashyyyk. If you can get your hands on one of those tack glands, I'll make it worth your while.
Griff, are you blind? Can't you see you're talking to a Jedi? We're out here trying to save the galaxy. We can't waste time on this.
Please, you have to help me. I promised this guy from the Exchange a sample of Teresian ale. If I don't come through for him, he's gonna break my legs. Or worse.
Don't worry, Griff. We'll get those tack lines for you.
Yeah, I knew you'd come through for me. You won't regret this. You'll see. Just don't take too long, okay? This guy from the Exchange could stop by any day. I kinda told him I already had the stuff, so if he shows up and I'm empty-handed, well, let's just say I really, really hope it doesn't come to that.
Oh, I love it. Does she say anything about Griff?
Greetings again from... For your need...
Okay, no.
Fair...
Now I have to go back to Kashyyyk to get tack glands? Oh dear. I really love Griff because he's such a freaking scumbag. Oh, man. They could make it a series about him and I'd probably watch it. Alright, time to swap out the whiners for another one.
Back already? Have you even looked for the holocron yet?
I have the holocron, Mother. I'm just not sure I want to give it to you.
And why not? Would you deny me even that?
I've never denied you anything, Mother. You may think I don't remember what it was like before I left for the Order, but I do. You were the one who pushed Father to go on one treasure hunt after the other. You loved living in wealth. You think I don't remember the fights? You were eager to send me to the Jedi even though I didn't want to go. You took Father away from me. And now this holocron is all I have of him.
Fool girl. You have a strange way of remembering things. That wasn't...
No, I don't wish to argue with you any more, Mother. It's time we parted ways now, for both our benefit.
Maybe you should listen to what she has to say, Bastila. Do you really need the holocron?
Perhaps not. I can remember my father well enough. But I ask you, why should she have it?
Is it too difficult to believe that I am a dying woman who simply wishes to see her husband one last time?
I find it difficult to believe anything you say, Mother.
I mean, if you want to see their father one last time, I can just kill you. You can join up then. It sounds like you've already made up your mind.
You're right. It shames me, but I find it difficult to let go of the past. I'm sorry, Mother.
I was hard on you, dear. I wasn't a very good mother to you. I know that. Your father loved you so. He wanted you to be just like him. He wanted to take you on his hunts, but I said they were too dangerous.
Treasure hunting is a dangerous occupation.
I always tried to keep him from the dangerous ones, but he would have none of it. It was a reckless life we led. Always moving. I didn't want that for you.
So that's why you gave me to the Order?
What do your father and I have to show for all those years of hunting? Nothing. That was no life for anyone, especially not someone as gifted as you, your father. He spent all his last years trying to pay